I have heard that the premiers are going to get into the White House shortly for a meeting with, I think it's the Deputy Chief of Staff. I don't know his name, Dan Scavino, I think, or something like that. Could you talk about that and obviously
I'm on it. Yeah.
your other meetings that you've had,
Yeah.
and
Crazy.
if they were with key people as well? I just want an understanding of what this looks like most important meetings going to mean, and then your what you've done so far.
Thanks. Yeah, we've been working for quite some time to get meetings with officials in the White House. So the premiers are pleased that we'll be headed up there to have a conversation directly with the team that's responsible for the executive orders. But listen, the day, both yesterday and today, have been really productive so far. We've had excellent conversations with congressmen and women from a variety of different places: North Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Maine, and more to come, that have really further reinforced the fact that these tariffs are going to have a negative impact on both New Brunswickers and Americans, as well as all Canadians. And so we took the opportunity to reinforce all the different ways that our countries are connected, that our states and provinces are connected, all the things that we buy from each other and sell to each other, and how we are each other's strongest and best trading partners. And as a nearshore friend and democratic country, we would rather our resources be sold to the U.S. than to some of the countries that are interested in our resources. And we think that's in the U.S.'s best interest as well. So conversation has ranged from energy to agriculture to forestry to defense to seafood to beyond. But it's all been really positive, and we've seen senators feel directly how it's impacting their constituents, and they have a lot of fear about the inflation and the price impacts to come should these tariffs come to pass, and how we can make best use of these days of reprieve that we have through to into March. And so that's the goal of the premiers, right? Is make best use of our time, build the relationships between two really close trading partners to show how we can strengthen that relationship in North America's interest.
Thank you. Brad Perry, Acadia Broadcasting.
We can't hear you, Brad.
We'll come back around. Alexandre Boudreau, Acadie Nouvelle.
Oui, bonjour. J'ai parlé avec Gilles Thériault l'autre jour, qui fait partie de votre délégation. Il disait, dans le fond, qu'il y a des gens dans le milieu des affaires aux États-Unis qui sont d'accord sur le Canada, sur la question, avec le Canada sur la question des tarifs, en principe, mais qui vont pas nécessairement se prononcer en public puis tenir tête au président américain. J'aimerais savoir si vous voyez ça, vous, dans vos discussions avec les politiciens à Washington, dans le fond, une crainte de critiquer le président, particulièrement chez les politiciens républicains.
Certainement, tout le monde est reconnaissant du fait que on n'a pas beaucoup de prévisibilité de la situation. Tout le monde sait que ça peut changer demain, mais qu'est-ce qu'on voit que c'est quand tout le monde réalise qu'ils sont dans le même bateau que leurs voisins dans des autres États, quand ils entendent de leur chef d'entreprise qui leur dit c'est quoi l'impact sur leur État au niveau de l'emploi, au niveau de l'activité économique, ils se préparent pour s'exprimer. Et on a déjà vu avec du monde qu'on a rencontré, ils ont déjà passé le message aux administrations du président Trump quand il y a des inquiétudes dans leur secteur de manufacturing, et d'autres qu'ils passent le message sur l'impact personnel, l'impact direct dans leurs États. Alors, moi, je pense qu'on va voir de plus en plus quand ils se parlent, les membres du Congrès, les gouverneurs, ils voient que tout le monde a le même message et ça leur donne du confiance de l'exprimer.
Merci. Mylène Thomas, CEMT.
C'est un petit peu difficile d'entendre Katie, là, en passant.
Mylène Thomas, c'était pour CEMT. Mylène, si tu es là, on ne peut pas t'entendre.
We'll try Alexander Johnson, All New Brunswick.
Afternoon, Premier. Going into these meetings with Washington, I'm just wondering your conversations you've had with New Brunswick's biggest exporters, how have those gone and what are their priorities as far as either these tariff conversations or reorienting that trade to other markets in Canada?
We're really pleased to have with us a delegation of some of our biggest exporters, the folks from Mrs. Dunster's, the Potato Association, Gilles Thériault, they mentioned, from snow crabs, from lobster, from Cook Aquaculture, from JDI. And it's New Brunswick has a really strong contingent here of organizations that are also really integrated with the US. And so the exporters are telling us the nature of the impact, how that plays out in terms of their buying and selling cycles, because it does look different whether you're selling in petroleum products or agricultural products or forestry products or others, who's buying what when. We think that that's part of this reprieve, actually, particularly in the agricultural space. Some of the reprieve is allowed time to make sure that everyone is stocked up. And so we're hoping to continue to extend that through the seasons that matter to New Brunswick's industry. And absolutely, the conversation about opportunities to sell and expand across Canada as we work particularly hard and much more urgently to get rid of the barriers between provinces that allow for New Brunswick exporters to be selling to Ontario and beyond. Those conversations continue, and we have a unified business community across Canada behind the movement to reduce those barriers.
Vanessa Wright, CTV.
Hi, apologize if you've already answered this, but do you have any insight at all about what the meetings will entail with the White House? I know it just happened not too long ago, or expected to happen.
Well, I'm actually
point,
just about to be heading into a briefing with Canada's premiers to talk about that very thing. So I might have more to share after the meetings, unfortunately.
Do you know who you'll be speaking with from the White House?
I think there's a number of senior officials that we've been told may be participating, so it's waiting to be confirmed.
Also, I just want to know, I know it's technically day 2, but really day 1, but I want to know, is there anything that you've seen or heard from American leaders so far that would give you confidence in something happening, benefiting for Canada?
Oh, there's been a number of things. Everyone that we've met with has articulated specific examples of how the tariffs will hurt their state, whether it's hurting manufacturing because of a restricted access to zinc, whether it's hurting a state that's trying to build homes because of the increased pressure on the price of lumber, whether it's how tariff on aluminum will affect industries down here, whether it's the integration of our lobster sectors or the fact that pulp goes from Madawaska, New Brunswick to Madawaska, Maine, and the impact that will have. We hear it. We've even heard the impact on tourism in Maine, and bookings at Old Orchard Beach are taking a hit, and that's concerning representatives there. And so there's been a consistent sense of the negative impact on tariffs on states in the U.S. from a variety of different sectors and in a variety of different ways. And we find that very encouraging that they'll be, they're looking for opportunities now with their colleagues to be able to share that information with the administration, because the ultimate fear is inflation, price increases, making life more expensive for Americans and Canadians alike.
Thank you.
Dauphin, moniteur acadienne.
Madame la Première ministre, bonjour. Chaque province a des intérêts particuliers, mais cette mission est d'intérêt général. Je voudrais savoir si vous et vos homologues êtes sur la même page, si vous présentez un front uni, et si les premiers contacts que vous avez eus jusqu'à présent sont encourageants.
Oh oui, toutes les premiers ministres sont sur la même page et ça me fait chaud au cœur de voir l'unité que l'équipe du Canada et le premier ministre présentent, même dans la question de est-ce qu'ils vont avoir des exemptions, est-ce qu'on va protéger un secteur ou un autre. nous sommes tous ralliés ensemble du fait que si ça fait mal à une province, ça fait mal à chaque province. Puis on se prépare pour défendre l'un et l'autre contre une stratégie de nous diviser. Mais on ne le voit pas à ce moment avec nos rencontres. On voit qu'il y a beaucoup de monde qui sont impressionnés par le fait qu'on a des premiers ministres qui viennent de plusieurs partis de politique qui sont rassemblés, unis, puis on présente ce message clair à la communauté d'entreprise, les politiciens ici à Washington et prochainement au White House.
Merci.
Amanda, Global TV.
Anna from Global.
Hi, I'm wondering if you have any, I know there were some people hoping for movement on interprovincial trade barriers since all the premiers are there together. Any movement on that you know of?
Well, the focus of our conversations here in Washington have been on our relationships with the states, the senators, the governors, the Congress people that we've been meeting with. And so we did talk about interprovincial trade barriers at our last Council of the Atlantic Premiers, as well as at our last First Ministers meeting. And those conversations are continuing absolutely. But yesterday and today are all about our relationship with the United States.
Erica Butler, CHMA.
Hi, Premier. I guess I'm just wondering if you can maybe take us inside a bit the conversation that's happening with the other provincial premiers. I'm wondering if there's, any regional alignment between yourself and the other Atlantic premiers, and I guess how that's faring. I mean, how you're organizing yourselves to go into this, maybe.
Interesting question, Erica. Thank you. It's actually been really interesting to see the various connections between province because often it's BC and New Brunswick that are talking about forestry. It's Quebec and New Brunswick that are talking about culture and language. It's Alberta and New Brunswick that are talking about energy and oil. So we have different points of alignment depending on the sectors of interest with the states that we're talking with. Certainly, we have some natural camaraderie and relationships among the Atlantic provinces because we've been such good neighbors and close allies for a long time. But there is a mix of meetings that are being taken independently and meetings that are being taken collectively, as well as some events like New Brunswick is hosting a business delegation and the Canadian American Business Council tonight with multiple premiers because of all of the activity that our states are doing with folks in the Forest Products Association and in the Manufacturing Council of the US and others, the Fisheries Institute. So there's actually lots of different connection points. We could talk critical minerals where every province has a different interest and a different profile of minerals that have been made. It's been made very clear how important those are to the United States and to their interests. And so that's a conversation that we've each been contributing to, whether it's because of nickel or zinc or uranium or antimony or molybdenum or tungsten or manganese or you name it. And so the connections have actually been broad and all across the country between our provinces.
Vicky Hogarth, CHCO.
Thank you, Katie. Premier Holt, have any U.S. leaders you've met with on this trip expressed concerns, regret, maybe even disbelief over President Trump's repeated comments about making Canada the 51st state? I'm just wondering what the general sentiment among U.S. officials is regarding his annexation remarks, whether they are seeing this as some kind of serious discussion point, maybe related to natural resources.
Our conversations have been quite focused on the direct relationships between the state at play and the premiers in the room, although we have heard some folks express versions of what I'll call a bit of a remorse or almost an apology for the situation that we're in. Certainly, our New Brunswick's closest neighbors in Maine are also feeling the stress of a long-standing, highly integrated relationship where there's literally family connections on both sides of the border. There's companies and products that constantly move back and forth, a sense of you know, we're sorry that this is happening and we love you guys. And, you know, the Canadian premiers have been saying the same to the US, that they are our preferred trading partner. They are our closest allies and friends. We want to see shared success in North America as we look at resource development and as we look at the shifting global economy. And so I think there's really been a lot of candid conversations, a lot of respect, but everyone shares the same sense that none of us knows what's going to happen next, and we have to be prepared for any outcome from this administration. So we're really looking forward to the meeting this afternoon.
Thank you.
Aiden Cox, CBC.
Good afternoon, Premier Holt. I'm wondering, just from the conversations you've had so far with, I guess, congressmen and women and senators, are the sentiments regarding the tariffs divided by, you know, Democrat versus Republican? Like, have you heard any Republican leaders who are also concerned about tariffs, and are any of their voices ones that you might think could help sway the decision in the end? And could you name any of those potential leaders?
Yes, absolutely. We have met with a number of Republican senators and Congress people, some of whom are chairs of critical committees on trade and other things. And I'll specifically mention, because her comments have been public, but Senator Susan Collins, who's the chair of the Appropriations Committee and a Republican, has spoken against the tariffs publicly on a number of occasions. But we have, I'll say this again, we haven't met with someone in support of the tariffs. Everyone we have met with, Republican and Democrat alike, have recognized the damage that the tariffs will do in their state to their workers and to their economies.
I just want to ask quickly, I mean, and do you think any of what you've heard in person might get to the president's ear?
I do. One of our very first meetings today, and actually our conversation with a senator yesterday as well, they both said explicitly that they had already passed on messages to the administration about the impact on businesses in their state. And so that's exactly the kind of thing that we are here to encourage, is folks expressing what the real impact on the ground to Americans, to American jobs, to the economy, the price. We can see it in the markets. We can see it in the inflation forecasts. And we're encouraged to hear that those Congress people are passing those messages up to the administration. It's why we've been encouraged to have this reprieve, this extra time, that we're going to continue to work hard to prevent the tariffs from being put in place, because they're not good for anyone.
Vincent Lavoie, C93 Miramichi.
Oui, bonjour, Madame Holt. Oh, pardon, bougez pas, j'ai juste. Oui, c'est beau. J'avais juste une question à vous demander. On sait maintenant que Saint-Jean, c'est la ville au Nouveau-Brunswick qui sera le plus touchée par ces tarifs-là. On sait que la province était particulièrement affectée aussi. Est-ce que ça a été observé, cette piste-là, avec Irving pour affiner du pétrole canadien, si c'est pas déjà fait? Parce qu'on parle de pipeline, on parle de transport par train et ce genre de choses-là. Est-ce que c'est des avenues qui ont été observées? Parce que j'imagine que l'industrie pétrolière fait partie des principaux moteurs de Saint-Jean.
Ah oui, oui, on parle beaucoup d'énergie, on parle beaucoup de l'industrie pétrolière, des pipelines. C'est clair que l'impact sur Saint-Jean à cause de Irving Oil, mais aussi d'autres. On voit avec JDI, puis avec Cook Aquaculture, ils sont tous basés à Saint-Jean, que les impacts sont sérieux. Alors, ça, c'est pourquoi je suis ici. Je suis ici pour présenter l'enjeu que ça présente pour les Américains. De tout au long du bord, on voit en Maine, en Massachusetts, le rôle de l'énergie qui vient de Nouveau-Brunswick sur le prix d'essence, sur le réchauffement à la maison. C'est sérieux et ils sont inquiets. Alors, c'est une inquiétude partagée entre Saint-Jean, le Nouveau-Brunswick et les États-Unis.
Est-ce que je peux vous demander rapidement si vous pensez que Donald Trump peut être raisonnable parce qu'il est reconnu pour son imprévisibilité? Est-ce que vous avez de l'espoir de ce côté-là?
Oui, j'ai de l'espoir. De plus en plus, avec chaque rencontre qu'on a ici à Washington, on voit que ça devient de plus en plus clair, le potentiel d'impact. Ça devient de plus en plus clair qui sont nos ennemis en commun. On va faire l'échange ensemble entre le Canada et les États-Unis. On ne veut pas trouver des partenaires en Russie ou en Chine au moment. On veut travailler ensemble. Et je pense qu'on peut réaliser un nouveau accord ensemble qui va fortifier l'Amérique du Nord, le Canada et les États-Unis dans un environnement où on a un président qui s'intéresse beaucoup sur l'état de son pays et de le défendre d'une façon globale. Le Canada, c'est le meilleur partenaire pour les États-Unis avec un objectif comme ça.
Merci beaucoup, Madame Holt.
Tina Alam, Canadian Press.
Hi, Ms. Holt, how are you doing? I was wondering if you could tell me whether President Trump is going to be at this meeting that you're going to have today?
We don't have that confirmation yet, no.
Okay, so and I was also wondering, do you feel like you're walking into a trap here, or what's the how are you preparing for this?
Not at all. These are meetings that we've requested because we want to make sure that we are passing our message to as many people as possible, as consistently as possible. And we're looking to gain insight, build relationships, ask questions, understand what some of those ultimate outcomes and objectives are for this administration so that we can best respond. So this is something that we've sought out. This is a meeting that we've requested, and we're very much looking forward to what we will learn from it.
Alex Villeneuve, Radio-Canada.
Oui, la rencontre avec à la Maison-Blanche, c'est à quelle heure? Puis quel dossier du Nouveau-Brunswick, industrie du Nouveau-Brunswick, est-ce que vous allez porter dans cette réunion-là?
Le temps n'est pas confirmé, ça vient dans les prochaines quelques heures, mais on va partager après la rencontre qu'est-ce qui s'est passé. Moi, je suis là pour promouvoir les intérêts de Nouveau-Brunswick avec nos secteurs qu'on a déjà parlé, énergie, foresterie, agriculture, la pêche. Il y a plusieurs producteurs d'agriculture et d'autres qu'on sait où il y a des intérêts, les minéraux et d'autres, que Nouveau-Brunswick peut offrir des produits qui vont aider à l'économie des États-Unis pour empêcher le type d'inflation qu'on sait que le président ne veut pas. Alors, nous sommes hâte d'apprendre après la réunion et de partager avec vous autres.
Je peux dire en français que est-ce que c'est m'expliquer que c'est une réunion que les premiers ministres avaient demandé?
C'est ça.
Je veux juste le dire en français pour qu'on puisse la voir.
Oui, c'est une rencontre que les premiers ministres du Canada ont demandé. On cherche à rencontrer avec l'administration et ceux qui sont autour de Trump pour vraiment comprendre c'est quoi la situation, c'est quoi les objectifs et les opportunités de collaborer et de travailler d'une façon coordonnée pour nos deux pays et pour améliorer notre économie, notre sécurité ensemble.
Maire Claude Choignard, CPAC.
CPAC? Okay. I'm going to go and get briefed on these next meetings. Thanks, everyone, for following along. We will keep you as updated as we can as things move and change. It's been a packed day, but I'll look forward to speaking with you again. Take care.
A news and public affairs production of CHCO-TV, New Brunswick's only source for independent community television.